horror animes. Through the years, I have seen my fair share of horror, but none of them have truly captivated me yet. Maybe it is because of the effects, maybe the story, or maybe something else that I can't quite put my name on it. But there has always been a reason why I haven't found this anime. There is always a but. Blood C+ is horror, but also an edgy shonen. Mieruko-chan is a good horror, but over-sexualizes its characters. Junji Ito Collection is made by one of the most acclaimed horror manga artists ever made, but his story doesn't translate well into anime. There is always this but that keeps me from truly enjoying a good horror anime. But I think I may have finally found the one that will stand above them. This is Dark Gathering. Now, as of the making of this video, Dark Gathering is still airing its second quarter of a 2-core 24-episode anime season. So this video is not about the story or the season as a whole, but rather the direction it's taking, because even if the anime had finished airing, there wouldn't really be that much of a difference as the manga is still ongoing. We would just be talking about the end of an arc, not the end of the series. And as it stands right now, I already think that it deserves praise for the way that it's portraying such a difficult genre as it is horror. And don't worry, because for this one I will try to keep it as spoiler-free as possible. So what is Dark Gathering? Well, the main plot is simple enough. We follow this guy called Keitaro that has been cursed. His hand grows these veiny looking flesh hairs that cause him pain every time he touches them. His body is a magnet for ghosts and malicious spirits, and he can feel the presence of ghosts near him. He is trying to live a normal life, helped by his best friend and eventual girlfriend Eiko. He lived most of his life as a shut-in after being cursed, and just recently went back to society and continued his university studies. As a way to go back to society, he also decides to become the tutor for young kids. That is where he meets Yayoi, who is Eiko's cousin and has the power to actually see ghosts. Pushed by her, Keitaro joins them to a spot known for a ghost to appear and kill its victims, only for bloody footprints to appear, Keitaro getting trapped in a phone booth and strangled, and Yayoi jumping in to save him, capturing the ghost and choking it into submission. That's where you realize, okay, this might actually be a scary anime. Now, while I think that the scary scenes were actually scary, a good part of the first episode and honestly the first half of the season have a lot of non-horror elements that can sometimes be considered comedy and subtract from the story overall. I would understand if it was necessary for the plot progression, but there are more than a few situations where there is no bearing in the story but still decide to poke fun at things just to lighten up the mood. And I also think that the ending of the first episode where Eiko acts weird and tells Keitaro that he actually loves to be scared was kind of unnecessary. I get that they were trying to find a way for him to keep doing the ghost hunting, but that just felt kind of wrong. Thankfully, both these issues get completely fixed later on. Comedy becomes almost non-existent, fully focusing on the horror aspect. And even when they were taking moments of the show for plot progression, it was still combined with some horror aspect to keep you engaged in the story and on the edge of your seat. And that dumb concept of they loving to be scared gets completely changed to them still going hunting for the sake of their loved ones even when they are scared. It really looks like through the writing of the story, the author was developing its writing skills, and by the later parts, those elements that were all over the place become completely focused on what I now believe is one of the best adaptations of horror stories into anime. Because once the horror starts to take the center stage, it never stops and goes full throttle, especially with them getting a real purpose on why they are catching the ghosts. You see, at the beginning of the show, they were just going around the city, capturing any ghost for the simple purpose of helping Yayoi find and kill the ghost that killed her parents and took the ghost of his mother. The ghost by itself looks really scary, as a ghostly fetus looming in the air. But we didn't really get to know how strong it was, and we also didn't have a game plan on how to find it and defeat it. But later in the season, we're introduced to a new enemy, the god of a shrine. We're given a better explanation of the power systems, how a ghost becomes more powerful, what makes a spirit be stronger than another, and what it takes to defeat them. We're given a roadmap of what we need to do to defeat the god and how they are going to do it. This leads to them taking more risk and fighting stronger ghosts, as well as getting tangled in other plot lines that at this point are still being developed. But all of this is being done for the purpose of giving us more and better scares. No longer are they developing the plot through comedy or generic plot lines. They are not using the powers of the ghost to give us shonen battles, but to show us how terrifying they can be. And they are putting our characters in high-stakes situations where if they are not careful enough, they can end up like the previous victims. And the best part is that these are not episodic stories. They are not doing the Monster of the Week formula, but hunting ghosts in multi-episodic plotlines that develop the story into a bigger thing. If they go into a haunted tunnel, well, that's because they need to capture this horrifying ghost to use it against the god. They go to this house with a big-ass baby? That's because they are planning on buying the house to keep their ghost in a safe location. There is always a reason behind why they are doing something, and I love it. Let's also give some time to appreciate the design of the ghosts. Each of them feels unique and horrifying in their own way. They are not simple black masses, but monstrous creatures that could haunt your nightmares. I personally think that the only other show that has done such a good job depicting ghosts has to be Mieruko-chan. And I think that the author took a note of that and developed his ghost into a similar way. Humanoids but with accentuated features that make them otherworldly and scary to anyone that puts their sight on them. If you are a horror enthusiast like me and are not happy with the state of the horror anime in general, well, give Dark Gathering a try. I know the first few episodes are a bit generic, but once you get into the God arc, you will understand what peak horror anime can be. And with that said, we come to the conclusion of this anime review. What do you guys think of Dark Gathering? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, see you guys next time.